was saying, it was really pretty effortless.
Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get this party started. I'll introduce myself. My name is Dr. Jodi Barnett. I'm a naturopathic physician, and today we're going to talk about the digestive system. This was going to be a PowerPoint presentation, and I had some equipment difficulties, so that's why you have these. So basically, these would have been the slides. So I'll take it one at a time and hand out some, give you some information, and we're going to talk about the digestive system. And what you can do naturally to support it so that you have better digestion. I'll let you know when I'm moving to the next slide, and there's a little slot there for you guys to take some notes. Before we get started, I want you to take note of this oatmeal I've got up here. It's pretty stiff, spoon is standing up pretty straight, okay? I am gonna put a couple of these capsules in here, and I'll explain what they are at the end, okay? At the end, it's paste. You could lay bricks with this right now. And I'm going to mix it up real good, and at the end, I'll go ahead and pass this around and everybody can take a look at it, okay?
What's with the oatmeal now? Water?
Just oatmeal and water. That's all that's in there, plus the 2 capsules I just put in there, okay? So, we're going to leave that sit while I talk. How many people believe that they have digestive issues? Whole room.
Everybody.
Okay. Well, basically, let's start out with the education on what is the digestive system. It's basically the tube that starts at the mouth, ends at the South Pole, okay, and everything in between. So when we eat, chew, swallow, the body has to go through processes to take the food that you ate and break it down into usable fuel that's dispersed in the body. That's what breaks it down into energy for the cells, vitamins and minerals to feed the tissues, supply your organs with what your body needs. So basically, I saw this on a bumper sticker once, and I wrote it down. It says, "The road to good health is paved with good intestines." Okay? Your health starts in the gut. It doesn't matter if you're eating the world's best diet on the planet, guys. If the food processor can't process what you're eating, it can't get where it's got to go. Okay, so you have to be able to break down and digest what you're consuming for the nutrients to do their thing. Okay? The digestive system is a transporter of food, has to convert it into energy. It's builder and repairer of tissues. Think of it like a conveyor belt, okay? Once it hops on the conveyor belt, it's going to go through various stations that have to add or delete to the process, okay? And it's about 30 feet from your mouth to the South Pole, all right? It's a muscular tube, and everything moves with muscular movement, okay? Some people, that muscular movement doesn't work like it needs to, and we call that constipation. Other people, it works too fast, and we have IBS issues where stuff is shooting straight through you. Basically, your digestion begins in the mouth. A lot of us, we don't take our time to chew our food. We swallow it half whole. We're in a hurry. We've all given birth to corn the next day. It's not because corn's hard to digest, it's because you didn't chew it and the stomach doesn't have any teeth. The point and purpose of chewing your food is to bathe it in saliva. There is a digestive enzyme in your saliva that starts the digestion process. It's called phytolin. Another word for it's amylase. All right? So it puts markers on that food, so when it hits the stomach, and the stomach acid and the digestive enzymes know what they're attacking. Okay? When we don't chew our food, those markers avoid that food because it doesn't have some of the pre-markers from the saliva on there. So even a lot of people, when they're on certain medication and they have that real bad dry mouth issue going on where they don't produce enough saliva, you've already got a digestive issue because that saliva serves a purpose, okay? You produce about 1.5 quarts of saliva every day, for those that were curious. Your pages, I think, are, well, I don't know if yours are two-sided or if they did them one sheet at a time, but the slide I'm on right now is the anatomy of digestion. And it kind of gives you the whole body picture, you know, and it tells you where all the organs are at, okay? Other organs participate in digestion. That's going to be your stomach, your small intestine, large intestine, the liver, the pancreas, the gallbladder, okay? Hydrochloric acid has to mix with your food. A lot of people have the misconception that hydrochloric acid digests. It does not. It is what is needed to activate the digestive enzymes, which are a protein base. So if you're low in hydrochloric acid, you're going to get heartburn, you're going to get bloating. Those are a lot of the people that struggle with GERD. Well, when you go to the physician, they give you something to dilute the stomach acid, okay? The way that I look at it is, okay, you may have a moment where you've got an overproduction, okay? And it's okay if you've got a raging river to put a dam up and block some of the water flow for a while. But if you forget to take the dam down and it now turns dry, you need hydrochloric acid to digest. Not because it breaks down the food, but that's what activates the digestive enzymes. Now, the other problem is if somebody's been under a lot of stress, your adrenal glands contribute to the production of HCl in the body. So if you're under a lot of stress and the adrenals are not contributing, that means you've already got a depletion problem. So if you know that you've got a lot of stress in your life, stressful job going on, okay, you know if you've got the stress, okay? We don't usually need somebody to tell us that we've got an overload of stress going on. You want to support your adrenal glands at the same time. So a lot of people ignore that. They're reaching for Tums, they're reaching for Rolaids. That's a Band-Aid when you've got heartburn or you've got the acid reflux going on. It's a Band-Aid. It's not fixing the problem, it's treating the symptom. You want to go to the problem so that the symptoms don't keep coming back. Because usually people that are taking Rolaids and antacids of some sort, and it's a multi-billion-dollar business right now, so there's a lot of people struggling with this. A lot of people take them. But it further dilutes your stomach acid, so it's exacerbating an already problematic area, right? After you chew your food and it mixes with the hydrochloric acid, it's created or turns into something we call chyme. It starts to liquefy. From that point there, it goes into the first part of the small intestine, which is the duodenum, okay? Once it reaches there, the body has to start to break it down further, and components that are initially absorbed in the stomach, which sugar is initially absorbed in the stomach, by the way. It's when you eat something sweet, it's going to absorb through the stomach wall and shoot straight into the bloodstream. That's why when you eat a candy bar or you're reaching for carbs like bread that's converted very quickly into sugar, or you have a milkshake or a can of pop, it gives you some energy because that sugar just shoots straight into the bloodstream. So it gives you that pick-me-up, but it drops you as fast as it brought you up, okay? Chyme is broken down further. This is where the pancreas throws its 2 cents into the mix. A lot of people don't understand your pancreas. Not only does it have to control your blood sugar, but it also produces digestive enzymes. It's got multiple jobs. A lot of people that have type 2 diabetes, that's usually adult onset diabetes, I will tell you hands down, that is diet and lifestyle induced. A lot of people will say, well, it runs in my family, it's inherited. Here's my take on genetics with that kind of thing. Genetics may load the gun, but your diet and lifestyle is what's pulling the trigger. Okay? Type 1 diabetes, that's a whole different issue. Okay? But when you have type 2 diabetes, that means that the pancreas has been trying to do the bulk of the digestion for too long. And it finally just says, I'm tired. Usually type 2 diabetes, you started out with hypoglycemia first, low blood sugar. You get the shakes, you get irritable when you're skipping a meal, You get real moody, you might want to rip somebody's face off because you need something to eat. That's where that commercial, you need Snickers, okay? That's blood sugar, that's low blood sugar that people are struggling with. The other thing is, as things are in that first half of the small intestine, the liver and the gallbladder start to dump bile into the equation. Bile works like a degreaser, okay? It is meant to thin out and break down any fats and oils in the food that you're eating. So it's kind of like when you put your dishwashing liquid on your dishes to wash off grease from a steak or what you cooked, okay? That's the purpose of bile. It's a degreasing agent. Then you have bile salts that are also created by the liver to also help break down your fats. All of this is starting to work on protein, carbohydrates, and fats so that they can be dispersed to the proper locations where the body needs to use them. The pancreas also produces insulin and glucagon. Those are helping to balance your blood sugar. The glucagon is a form of a hormone as well. A lot of people don't realize that. They just contribute that to blood sugar, period, okay? But it's not. It has a dual role in the body. There's a duct coming off of the duodenum that goes to the gallbladder. And since the liver is the largest organ in the body, that's where the body is going to store its fats, carbohydrates, proteins, and vitamins. The liver has over 500 different jobs it has to do, and it never gets a day off, guys. It's a big participant in digestion, but it's a warehouse. It's a storehouse. The liver has to not only help store the fats, the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the vitamins, it also has to neutralize any poisons or toxins that are getting into your body, whether you're breathing them in, putting them on your skin, eating them. It has a big job to do. So the other tidbit is, I don't know if any people realize it, your liver can still function even if 90% of it's been removed. And it is the only organ in your body that will regenerate itself. It will grow back. We have people that have had liver cancer, had large portions of their liver removed, and it does regrow that tissue that's been cut away. So we want to love our liver. We need it.
They go back fast?
You know, it depends on the state of each person's individual health. So that's kind of an individual, depends on the person. When we move into the second part of the small intestine, that's called the jejunum, or the duodenum, and then the jejunum is and the third part's the ileum. These three parts together finish the job of digesting and metabolizing your fats, your starches, and your proteins. You have something called an ileocecal valve. That is the gateway where the small intestine is going to hook up and connect with the large intestine. It works like a door. So its job is to create or prevent a backflow of material going from the colon into the small intestine. And its job is to help keep toxins out of the small intestine. It's located down here in the smaller corner, right where your appendix is at. So your appendix is right there, and that's not an accident. They tell you can live without your appendix, and this is true. You can also play a guitar with a broken string. It's just not going to sound the same. You need it. The job of the appendix is it creates a mucus that works as an antibacterial agent. So as things are passing from the small intestine into the large, they're getting a dose of that. Plus the mucus helps to lubricate so things have a smoother passage as they're starting to work through the large intestine. So you will find that a lot of people that have had their appendix removed, they struggle more with that seesaw effect of constipation and IBS because they don't have their appendix producing some of that. And they will still get a lot of phantom pain in that lower area where the appendix was removed when fecal matter is starting to move through there. Major digestion and absorption of the nutrients take place in your small intestine. When they tell you that you've got intestinal inflammation, if you've been to an internist, they're mainly referring to that inflammation being in the small intestine, not the large intestine, okay? Unless you've got some kind of ulceration or polyp or something growing in the large colon. most of the time the inflammation's either going to be right where the stomach enters into the small intestine or right before where the small intestine dumps into the colon. Those are the two key points that you're usually going to have an ouch spot, okay, that gets your attention with inflammation. That ileocincal valve is a muscular ring, and it can actually get weak when somebody's been struggling with constipation on a regular basis. In small children, we see something called intersusception, where that ring is very, very weak, and part of the intestine will telescope back into the small intestine, and it cuts off circulation. They have to have surgery and have that pulled out, okay? My youngest son had that. So you want to make sure, if you know you struggle with constipation, you want to make sure that you're taking in enough things to help facilitate smoother transit, because you need your colon. And it's uncomfortable when it gets backed up. If anybody's ever struggled with chronic constipation or had even a blocked bowel, it's not a nice feeling, and you can get septic. Because when fecal matter sits in your intestinal tract too long, you got to remember there's blood flow going to the intestines. Well, what goes in also has to flow away. So the longer something sits there, you're getting undigested food particles that get back into the bloodstream. Okay, that's a form of toxemia, and it makes you sick. Okay, if you leave your trash in your kitchen for months on end and you don't take it out, what happens? Right? It's going to smell. So when you do have a bowel movement, if you clear a room, okay, you're toxic. Your bowels are not moving frequently enough. If your bowels are running clean and you've got clear digestion, meaning you're digesting cleanly, your poop should not have a horrendous odor. Okay? The other thing is, when one train docks the station, another should leave. And what I mean by that, I want you to picture babies and puppies. After you feed a puppy, what's the first thing you got to do? You got to take them out. When you feed an infant, especially if you breastfeed, you're nursing them, they're usually filling their diaper. It's not until we start introducing table food or all the wrong food that kind of curtails a little bit. All right? That's a healthy digestion. When you eat, it should be stimulating, and shortly after you eat that meal, you should feel like you need to go to the bathroom. Now, people with IBS have that happen all the time. I'm not talking about jet propulsion. I'm talking about a normal movement. All right? That's the difference. The other thing that you need to realize that takes place in your large intestine, this is where your water's reabsorbed. This is where all your B vitamins are absorbed. Not the small intestine, but the large intestine. So if you're dealing with constipation, or if you have chronic diarrhea on a regular basis, you're going to be depleted in your B vitamins. One of the ways that you can tell if you're depleted in the B vitamins, your nerves are on edge. You are frayed. You've got zero energy. Your B vitamins help to create energy in the system. They also work on calming, your mental nerves and your central nervous system. So B vitamins are also water soluble. The body does not store them. So they're going to flush out with too much water. So when you've got the flu, any kind of diarrhea going through you, your B vitamins are going to take a hit. There are more organs in your digestive system than any other system in the body, folks. 2/3 of all your body parts are found in the digestive tract. All right? 2/3 of your energy that is being supplied to digest and clean house. I tell my clients all the time, the two things your body's going to expend the most energy on is digestion and elimination. So if you're not digesting, that energy is skewed, and it's going to interfere with your elimination. So Houston, we've got a problem. And one is going to springboard right off the other. The average American, I thought this was a fun fact, consumes about 40 tons of food in their lifetime. 40 tons of food. We really want to make sure that we're digesting that. You've heard the saying that you are what you eat. I'm gonna correct that, and I'm gonna tell you, you actually are what you were able to absorb. That's where that good diet doesn't mean anything if your body can't do anything with it. Transit time. Some of the things that are going to interfere with transit time, setting aside anybody that might be on certain medications that are going to cause constipation, like some of your pain meds and opioids and so forth like that. If you're don't have enough enzymes, you got a lack of probiotics going on in the gut, you've been on a lot of antibiotics, okay, they can't go in there with a sign that says I'm only here for the bad guy. It's going to take out the good with the bad. You have to put it back. How many people have been told, anybody in here, that they had a hiatal hernia? Does anybody know what the hiatal hernia is? Okay, it's where right at the neck of the stomach, part of it makes its way back up into the small part of the esophagus. And usually people that have acid reflux, GERD, heartburn, or you eat and you feel just like it's rock hard right here, and it'll be painful sometimes. Where your rib cage comes together, if you push your fingers right in here, if it's tender when you do that, I mean, you got to really push your fingers in there. If it's sore, chances are you might have a hiatal hernia issue. Surgically, they really don't do anything about that, but if you know you have that issue, you can put your fingers in there and turn it clockwise before you eat and help push that down and out of the way so stuff doesn't back up. And after you do that a while, a lot of times too, what contributes to a hiatal hernia is overfilling the stomach. Your stomach is the size of your fist. Give it an inch in circumference for expansion. Most of us use a 12-inch dinner plate and we fill it. Okay? Even after that food is chewed, if you want to see the volume of that, just play around with a full meal once and throw it in your food processor and mulch it up to nothing and throw it back on the plate and hold your hand over it. Get a visual. So I'm going to tell you, shrink your dinner plates and start eating with the cake plate. Okay? Because we're visual people. So if you have a cake plate and it's full, you're going to think, okay, I'm getting a lot of food, versus a dinner plate that's overflowing. It's kind of like when you overfill your washing machine with your clothes, they're not going to get clean. If you overfill your stomach, the enzymes in the stomach fluid can't get in and bathe all that food to start properly breaking it down. And it's going to feel like it sits there for longer than it needs to. That's where the bloating comes in. And when we woof our food, because we're not chewing, it takes 20 minutes for the signal to go from the stomach to the brain to tell you that you're full. And it is the only organ in our body that the nerve ending works in reverse from the stomach to the brain. Every other nerve ending goes from the brain to the organ. Your stomach is the only organ that's reversed. So 20 minutes, guys, before your brain even realizes you're full. So when we're unconsciously eating, like we're talking on the phone and we're eating and, oh, I ate the whole bag of cookies or the whole bag of chips, because your mind's not focused on it. It all plays together. So make your eating, if you're stressed out or you're mad, you just had an argument with somebody, a coworker at work, a husband, whatever, don't eat. When you are nervous, mad, upset, do not eat, because you're not going to digest it. Okay? Takes about 24 hours transit time. Now, I tell my clients a couple of things you can do to check that transit time. You can use beet juice, but if your liver is really struggling, that beet juice might give you a headache if you take just straight beet juice. So I like to use liquid chlorophyll. It's got peppermint in there and it tastes really good, and just 2 tablespoons is all you need to do. I put it in a shot glass, take it back, okay? See how long, because it's going to turn your stool green if you don't dilute the liquid chlorophyll, if you take it full strength, okay? See how long from the time you take it, it takes for you to see it exit in the stool. If it comes out in 12 hours, your transit time's too fast. If it's longer than 24 hours before you produce a green colored stool, your transit time is too slow. It just kind of helps you, because a lot of people say, I poop just fine. Well, a lot of people think if they poop once a day, they're doing good. Or once every couple of days. I get clients all the time that poop maybe once every 4 days and they think they're killing it. They're not, okay? And that's where that analogy of that train station comes into play.
So you're saying you should go multiple times?
You should. You eat more than once a day, you should be eliminating more than once a day. And I mean, they call me the poop doctor. I talk about poop all the time. It doesn't embarrass me. Everything on this planet, if they eat, they poop. It's yours. You're in the bathroom by yourself. Turn around, look at it, own it. It belongs to you. It tells a lot about your health. When I do parasite detoxes with my clients, I make them buy wooden chopsticks, y'all, because they have to pick it apart to see if what we're trying to kill is exiting. So they brought them to me in baby food jars. I used to have them lined up on my file cabinet. Okay, so nothing shocks me. You could never say anything to me that would shock me. So that being said, yes, you eat more than once a day. It should be coming out more than once a day. Like I said, keep in the back of your mind, think babies and puppies. Okay, your digestive system should continue to work that way if you're eating right, and your body, you're giving it what it needs. And I'll go over some of these things that you can use to help that at the end. Basically, though, the human digestive system really can typically only process 3 to 4 meals a day. Now, certain clients, if they've got particular health issues, you know, I will tell them it's going to work better for them if they do what I call light grazing. All right. Some of my cancer patients, I tell them to do the light grazing, to where they're eating just a small amount every 2 to 3 hours, because their metabolism is so off. I have to give it to them in small spurts for them to even be able to get what they need in their system, okay? But typically 3 to 4 meals is about all your digestive system can handle. And most of us grossly overeat. We overeat, period, okay? So keep that in mind. Covered the bell. Okay. The role that enzymes play is they completely digest your food, and that's what allows for proper absorption. Do we possess enough enzymes for a lifetime? Well, yeah, we really do, until we consider the denatured fact of the food that most of us are eating. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If the food has a shelf life, in other words, if it can sit on a shelf for an extended period of time, we call them preservatives. What those preservatives are something called enzyme inhibitors. They have to stop the natural enzyme process in the food matter so it doesn't spoil, okay? When you consume those kind of foods on a regular basis, it's going to inhibit the production of the enzymes your body is trying to make, because it's sending out the same chemical message, okay? So enzymes are catalysts. And when you look up the definition of catalyst, it is a chemical composition that causes change but isn't supposed to be changed itself. It causes change. But all of these preservatives and these chemicals that they are putting in the foods that we're eating are doing the exact thing to your enzyme production. I have got tons of clients that are children, and their digestive systems, they're 4, 5, 6 years old. It's horrible. But they're living on French fries, guys. They're living on chicken nuggets. They're living on fast food. They're drinking artificial juices like Sunny Delight. There's nothing real in that product, period. It's colored chemical water. Plain and simple. The human body was not designed for shelf life foods. That was not God's design for your digestive system. It's adapting, but it's not adapting real well, because we are seeing the number one reason that brings a person into their doctor's office, number one, is digestion issues. Okay? Non-cooked foods contain enzymes from nature that helps you break down that food. If you go buy a pineapple and you set that sucker on your counter, it's not going to last 2 weeks. All right? It's going to start to shrivel. It's going to start to mold. That's enzymes. If you drop an apple and it gets a bruise, That is the inner enzymes, because once those cell walls have been broken, the enzymes say, "Woo, time to go to work." That's why we chew our food. We release the cellulose and break up the cellulose in the food that we're eating to release the enzymes inside the food, and it makes it easier for your digestive enzymes to mix with it for better complete breakdown. The other thing I do with a lot of clients when they've got severely impaired digestion is I have them make something called blended salads using their food processor. I'm not making it liquid. They're pulsing it till it's grated, so that we're unlocking the cellulose and opening up the cell walls on those vegetables, because I can't tell you, my clients say, "Well, I'd love to have salad, but I can't eat it. Goes right through me." Well, first off, they're not chewing, okay? But they're low and they're weak in enzyme production, and their hydrochloric acid production is next to nothing, based on symptoms. I have clients when they come and say, "Well, the doctor put me on that purple pill because he said I had too much stomach acid." And I ask them, "Did they measure your stomach acid? What did they use to measure your stomach acid?" "Well, they didn't do anything. He just told me I was making too much stomach acid." And I said, "And how does he know that?" If you pull medical journals and medical books back from the 1950s and 60s, when somebody presented with a case of heartburn or indigestion, they prescribed hydrochloric acid. They didn't give them something to reduce the acid, they increased it. Now that's not the case. Just about everybody you talk to, you could not go a day and not speak to somebody that isn't on some kind of acid reducer. And it's working against their digestive process. Enzymes are also required for detoxing the body. We have digestive enzymes, and we have something called systemic enzymes. They kind of work like little Pac-Mans that run inside the lymphatic fluid. They work in the interstitial fluid that runs parallel to all the cells, and they chew up all of this stuff. But here's the thing, guys. We are a symphony. If one set of enzymes is impaired, it's a domino theory. They all have to play nice together. They all have to communicate, all right? Less enzymes mean you're more toxic. Another way to discover if you're holding a lot of toxicity in your body, everybody here knows what cellulite looks like, okay? Cellulite is stored toxins in your fat. The body has nowhere else to put it. That's why we get that nice rippled effect, okay? Once you start detoxing your system, your body will start purging that cellulite. You don't need all those fancy lotions, all those fancy creams. It's stored toxins. You cannot fix topically what's taking place internally, all right? You have to start where it's happening, and that's inside. Enzymes help to balance your pH in your system. So if you know that you're acidic, your enzymes are off, because your enzymes help to balance your pH with that proper acid-alkaline balance. And they help reduce inflammation in your body. So if you're dealing with a lot of joint and inflammatory issues going on, your enzymes are off. Probiotics. They prevent parasites from setting up housekeeping. So does HCl, by the way. If you can put hydrochloric acid in a glass, you can put a razor blade in there. That hydrochloric acid is strong enough to dissolve the razor blade. Okay? So, what do you think if you're going to take that hydrochloric acid and you were to put some of these parasites in there? You think it'd kill the parasites? Okay. So if you don't have enough hydrochloric acid being produced in your body, more of us have enemies hidden within than we want to admit, and most people don't want to look at it. But I do a lot of parasite detoxing with my clients, and they're usually shocked when it comes out. So, parasites, probiotics, yeast overgrowth. If you've taken antibiotics, some people have experienced a yeast infection of some sort after taking an antibiotic. Probiotics, you got to put it back. That helps keep things balanced. Your body produces its own probiotics. When a baby is born, and passes through the mom's birth canal through natural childbirth, that baby's getting a mega dose of probiotics, okay? Then it's also contributing as if the baby is breastfed. So a baby born by C-section, it's kind of got a little bit of a strike against them as far as the probiotic. I always tell moms when they come to me if they've had a C-section to start giving their baby a little bit of probiotics, okay? The other thing is when it comes to probiotics, they're not all created equal. If you're dealing with yeast, I usually tell my clients to focus on Bifidobacillus because it will go in there and really attack yeast. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ones, but if you've never really taken a probiotic, you want to start with a good multi-strain, okay? The ladies here, they can help you. They've got all different kinds of probiotics to choose from. I'm a bigger fan of the ones that have to be refrigerated than the ones that are shelf stable. That's just my preference, okay? But they can help you pick some out, and I highly recommend if you know you've got digestion issues, and there was a lot of hands that went up earlier, that's key, right? And they're not all created equal. I guarantee you the ones that they're selling on the shelf at Walgreens and at Target, junk. Okay, the strength is just not there. You're wasting your money. Okay, 75% of your immune system. If you notice that you get sick more frequently than you'd care to, 75% of your immune system is in the gut. Found throughout the system and mainly in the colon, probiotics account for 75% of your immunity. Here's the way it works. Your small intestine is lined with little fingers, okay? These little, and they do this. They're little feathery, we call them villi. And if you were to see it under a high enough powered microscope, they have all these little hairs that go all the way around, each and every one of them. At the base of these, we have a little hospital. We have a colonizing hospital, and that's where the probiotics are born. They make their way up the little hairs, and when they get to the top, they're no longer super effective, and they pass through, and we poop them out, okay? So when you've got inflammation, and you're eating real sugary foods, acidic foods, maybe certain prescriptions are causing you to be inflamed, instead of these being all fluttery, they swell. You ever sprained an ankle? Ankle swells, everything is stiff, okay? That's what happens here. These work like little straws. They absorb and they have to give back. When they're inflamed, that process isn't happening, and the probiotic production is greatly hampered. You don't have to have taken an antibiotic to be low in probiotics. If you're eating commercial meat, drinking commercial milk, it's loaded with antibiotics because they're being injected into the animals, and it's also being put in the feed that the animals eat. Okay? So, 10% of your total body weight should be friendly bacteria. 10% of your body weight. Talked about the birth and the breastfeeding, antibiotics. You also want to look for an antibiotic that has something called fructooleosaccharide, FOS, that is in it, because that is food for the probiotic. That's what feeds it, okay? A lot of I know that they have the Florigen in there, and that has the FOS added in it as well. That happens to be one of my favorite probiotics, is Florigen, and they've got a really good one for children. You open up the capsule, put it right on their tongue, doesn't taste bad, okay? Talked about the hiatal hernia. And I will tell you too, that I have found that, you know, you have a lot of these things out there, specialty food diets. You know, the big thing right now is gluten-free, okay? Gluten is a protein. That's what it is. The gluten's not the problem. It's the people's digestion that's the issue. One of three things is usually a contributing factor when I work with a client that comes in and says that they can't digest gluten. Okay, even my celiac patients. They are extremely deficient in essential fatty acids. What's essential fatty acids? I put them out here somewhere. Fish oils. Omegas 3, 6, and 9. For those that don't want to eat fish or take fish oil, you can do flax oil. Okay, you can do borage oil, you can do evening primrose oil. Evening primrose oil carries a benefit with it as it helps balance glandular issues and hormonal imbalances as well. Krill oil is one of my favorite. It seems to be more easier for most people's systems to metabolize, number one. You have to take less of it because it's more concentrated. And the capsules are usually much smaller, so they go down easier, okay? Krill oil is one of my favorite. But essential fatty acids, so we look there. The second is because they're not producing enough hydrochloric acid and they have extreme adrenal burnout. So I start supporting their adrenal glands, which is going to improve their hydrochloric acid, plus I always put them on hydrochloric acid and pepsin, okay? Third is that their probiotics are like all but non-existent, and they need some digestive enzymes to help them break down their food. Okay? If you have digestion issues, guys, if you're bloating after you're eating, if you're dealing with constipation and IBS, that teeter-totter right, okay? If you've got GERD, acid reflux, you need hydrochloric acid, you need digestive enzymes, okay? Those two are imperative, coupled with some probiotics. If you've got most of my clients that have ulcers, or they've been told that they have ulceration, it's because they don't have enough hydrochloric acid production. Now we have to put the fire out first because now they've got a raw spot. Aloe vera, whole leaf aloe vera juice. You don't want to take what it says on the label because that's not going to get you anywhere. Understand that most of your dosing on any supplement is to maintain. But if you've got an issue going on, you need to take a therapeutic dose if you're ever going to get above and on top. Okay? The difference is, now yeah, there are some herbs and supplements that you don't want to take too much of, but the majority that are whole foods and coming from foods, you're not going to overdose on it. But I tell you to stagger your doses. You don't want to take, if somebody tells you to take 8,000 milligrams of something, you're not going to take that at one sitting because you're not going to metabolize it. You need to take it in graduated doses to reach that 8,000 milligram so that your body can absorb it, light years apart, okay? But when it comes to apple cider vinegar, if you've got any kind of gastric or peptic ulcers going on, you need to be drinking a half a cup every 4 hours. You're gonna burn through a bottle in a day and a half. So you might, if you know you got a serious issue, buy a gallon. Okay? A couple of things are gonna happen. You're gonna poop like you never pooped in your life. Okay? You are gonna clean out the pipes, I promise you that. Within 2 to 3 days, you will not have a single burnt, ouch, sore spot coming from that ulcer. It works. This is the best thing for any kind of ulcers is aloe vera juice, but it has to be the whole leaf.
How about the Georgian? No.
George makes whole leaf. He makes
Is that
whole
the
leaf aloe vera.
unflavored one?
That's a concentrated one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to look at the bottle. I think you guys have it on the shelf. I'd have to look
Because
at
the
the bottle.
George's is just like water, so the kids take it
She's
because
talking about the
it's okay.
distilled one.
Oh, the distilled one. No, that's not going to do it for an
No.
ulcer.
You have to have the whole.
Yeah, the whole leaf. And the
Okay.
whole leaf is going to stimulate bowel production, okay, so that it can move things out.
Did that have a taste?
You know what?
It does.
Aloe vera juice, if it's real aloe vera juice, it's going to smell and taste like sour socks. I can't sugarcoat that for you, okay? So what I tell you, if you're trying to get it in your kids, if your kids are just coming off the flu or if they're having the flu, the worst thing you can do is push food when you're sick. If you watch your dog, if your dog's not feeling good, they don't eat. And yet when our kids are sick or when we're sick, we keep saying, I gotta eat, I gotta eat. We force the food. Stop it. Your body expends energy on digestion and elimination. And when you're sick, it's trying to eliminate. So don't force it to put energy in digestion when it doesn't want it. It's shutting down the appetite. And you're fighting in battle with your kids saying, you're gonna eat this, you're sick, drink this chicken soup. Stop. Give them fluid, like water, okay? I wouldn't even give a lot of fruit juices, just warm water. Not even cold, warm. This is the best remedy when they've got the flu, guys. It's gonna soothe the stomach, but it's not gonna stop the elimination process. When you're sick and you get diarrhea, you don't wanna stop the diarrhea. That's your body's defense mechanism to toss out the trash that's not supposed to be there. And yet we take something and we go to the pharmacy and we get, I don't even know the names of the stuff because I never use it, but
Imodium.
thank you.
Yeah.
we take it to stop the diarrhea. You're just blocking in what's trying to get out, and you're prolonging your sickness because now it gets a chance to sit there, and your body says, "Well, I tried." Okay, we work against ourselves. You got to work with it. Okay, so I would always have a bottle of this on hand. Okay, especially if you have kids, if you watch your grandkids, that kind of stuff. It is the best thing for car sickness, for upset stomachs, for nausea. Excellent to have aloe vera juice, whole leaf. All right. Emotions. What's emotions got to do with our digestion? Well, you ever hear, I can feel it in my gut. I got a gut feeling, okay? There's a reason those statements stem. But when you're angry, when you're grieving, when you're upset, what's the first thing that gets affected? You get sick to your stomach almost. You start vibrating all over if you're angry. And if you're weeping and you're all upset and stuff like that, you'll get nauseous, right? Emotions affect how much stomach acid and enzyme production take place. That's why I'm telling you, don't eat anything if you're dealing with that. Wait. You're not going to starve to death until you calm down. Then start to eat, okay? Eating with less distractions. Turn off the TV sets, guys. You know, have some conversation, but it's all the other distractions. You know, you see cell phones are a real big problem. You got families that have a basket and go around and everybody puts their electronics in there. No electronics while you're eating. You know, stay focused and conscious of what you're doing while you're eating. Talked about the antacid industry. Bad news. A lot of those chewables aren't going to get the job done, guys. Treatments aimed at neutralizing your stomach acid are actually potentially going to exacerbate that problem with your digestive tract. Okay. Also, if you're over the age of 40, your body's going to start to naturally slow down in producing hydrochloric acid. That's just a given scientific fact, okay? Poor diets, overeating, gulping your food create heartburn. Heartburn is a lack of hydrochloric acid, not an overload. Next time you get heartburn, and usually that'll hit you 20, 25, maybe a half hour after you eat, take a hydrochloric acid capsule. If you don't have those on hand and you're out somewhere, apple cider vinegar. Put some in a shot glass, dilute it with a little bit of water, kick it back. Heartburn's gonna go away. Call me if it doesn't, because I never had the phone call.
What about baking soda?
Pardon me?
Baking soda?
Baking soda will not. And here's why. When you take, remember our science projects and we wanted to make a volcano?
Yes.
The biggest other contributor to heartburn is improper food combination. All right, when you say you have a steak, all right, it takes a real acid set of environment to break that steak down. When you have a baked potato, pasta, or a piece of bread, it needs more alkalinity to dissolve and break that down. When you add an acid in an alkaline environment together, we get eruption. Okay, when you take baking soda and add it to vinegar, what happens? That's the concept. Okay, so stuff's coming up and we're bloating here. We get a lot of gas. You know, gas is funny. A lot of people crack up when we're tooting and carrying on and stuff like that. But it gets embarrassing when you're clearing the room out. That tells you you're toxic. Okay, you didn't digest. You have incomplete digestion. Most of us eat wrong. We combine our food runs. We all eat sandwiches. If you put meat on that sandwich, you're not digesting. So if you're getting a burger, you've got 2 buns and a burger. You're eating a lunch meat sandwich. You're eating a wrap. You're not digesting it. Now if you're doing a veggie wrap, life is good because your vegetables are neutral. So if you're going to eat a steak, your vegetables go with it. That's a good meal. If you're going to have the pasta, the bread, or the potatoes, vegetables. No animal meat. You can do plant protein like beans and rice. Those are a real good digesting combination. But a lot of our pasta dishes are loaded with meat. And a lot of people get heartburn after they eat spaghetti. They all blame the red sauce. Try eating your spaghetti. If you get heartburn when you eat spaghetti, take the meat out of the sauce. Eat the spaghetti. Let me know if you get heartburn.
What about shrimp?
It's still a protein. Fish is a little bit easier to digest. So like I will do fish with a pasta dish or something like that, but I still take digestive enzymes when I do it because I want it to digest better.
How soon do you have to take it before you eat it?
I take it right before I start chewing. Okay.
So stay away from lunch meat sandwiches?
You know what? Do lettuce wraps with them. Take your romaine leaves, chop off the white end, lay your lunch meat out there and roll it up. You can either roll it up lengthwise or you can roll it up this way. It's going to be a little short, dude. But put everything that you would normally put on a sandwich and wrap it in a lettuce leaf. Or put your cheese, if you're doing some cheese and stuff like that, do lunch meat roll-ups with a side salad. Okay? The bread is not working for you. Bread's not bad, you just got to eat it right. Even if you go back to biblical times, they didn't eat meat with their bread, and they ate a lot of bread, and that's all they had was grains to grind up into flour.
So when are you saying you should eat bread? I don't understand.
You just don't want to eat bread with an animal meat. You can eat it with plant proteins,
Okay.
so you can do like a
Bean burrito.
bean burrito, thank you. Okay, just don't put the ground beef on there or the ground pork or anything like that. Just do your refried beans on a tortilla and do your enchiladas that way, that kind of stuff, okay? Because you'll digest it. Try it your way and then try it my way and come to your own conclusion, okay? Because it's different, and I realize I'm asking you to do something completely different than what y'all are used to doing when it comes to combining your food. There is a genuine science to food combination. I promise you that there is.
Okay, Jodi, so they bring the bread in the bread basket for dinner.
Mhm.
Okay, then 15 minutes later you have your vegetable and your steak. Still bad? Because it's the same meal.
Takes you 3 hours to digest bread.
So have my bread, wait 3 hours, then have my steak.
Yeah, bread
I'm
digest.
having my bread, I don't care.
Can't give up their bread.
I'm not giving up
It's-
the bread.
You don't have to give it up. It's what you're eating with it.
Yeah.
Just tweak that change. That's all you got to do. Doesn't mean you can't eat bread. It's what you're eating with it that's causing you the problem. People that are struggling to lose weight, if they just change that aspect of what they're eating with the bread, you can still eat the bread and the weight's going to come off. Just don't eat it with meat. Meat is the deciding factor. You can have vegetables with your bread, pasta, or potatoes, not meat. Meat and veggies, that's it. Meat and veggies go together if you're having digestive issues. Give me 2 weeks of making that change, and then you judge how you feel eating that way versus before you change. Okay? It'll